Yeah, Professor Key.
Good afternoon and namaste. Sorry about the technical issues. Hopefully you can see me, hear me, and you can see some slides on the desktop. Yep.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. So if you'll
Good.
allow,
Please go ahead.
Before we start.
Please go ahead.
I'm delighted to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed dignitary, Dr. Keith Sheringham, PMO Specialist, New South Wales, Australia. Professor Sheringham boasts over 15 years of experience in business consulting, having served in corporations and government at the executive and senior leadership levels. His expertise lies in areas such as business strategy and planning, the application of ICT in business, program management and turnaround, and business resilience and change management. Dr. Sheringham is recognized as a notable author and professor, particularly in the realm of the business application of ICT. He is renowned for his thought leadership and pragmatic approach, particularly in areas such as real-time decision-making, standardizing the roles of knowledge brokers, green ICT, and resilient business operations. Previously, Professor Sheringham served as a board director of the Australian Computer Society, where he oversaw strategy and planning. He has also been a guest lecturer at various universities in Australia, delivering insights on the impacts of ICT changes in business. Additionally, he serves as a company director and mentor to CEOs and boards with not-for-profit organizations, leveraging his practical and pragmatic business experience to address organizational performance and foster effective board and executive relationships. Sir, I would now like to invite you on the platform for the keynote talk on cloud-based project services with artificial intelligence in business transformation. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Just to check again, you can see the screen and the slide, yeah?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Beautiful. Okay, let's move into things. So I'd want to do a quick overview of the conversation we want to have today, talk about project services, talk about transformation management offices, talk about cloud-based services coming out of the cloud. If we get time, talk about some frameworks, controls, and assurance. I've got a couple of questions for the AI experts in the room, and then we'll wrap everything up. We're running over time, so can you please keep your questions until the end? Thank you. Now, I want to cover off some terms very quickly. A project is a piece of work that is done and has a manager. A program is multiple projects, and a portfolio is multiple programs and projects. There's a term called a project management office, and basically they provide the support services, the shared services, and the oversight to make sure that all the projects and programs are delivering. The slides have been shared and we'll share them after the talk so you can go through some of these points in a bit more detail. Now, we're talking about adaptive intelligence at this conference, but adaptive intelligence is one of the many types of AI that we will cover off in this, and the common implementation aspects apply irrespective of the different types of AI. This is a picture of the Great Barrier Reef. Now, a project is a business services that is delivered like any other area of business operations. They're not special, they're not unique. Instead of processing mortgages, they're delivering projects. Instead of manufacturing cars, they're delivering projects. So all of the impacts upon AI and adaptive intelligence, they're going to hit any other area of business, are going to hit projects. And projects, as you know, are a mixture of people, the products and services, the process and the governance, and how we manage stakeholders and customers. We do that for business, we do that for projects, so the changes and impacts are going to be seen in projects, portfolios, programs, and PMOs, as well as any other area of business. Now, account management is going to get impacted. The supporting services like reporting, governance, activity-based costings, P&L, profit and loss, how you manage your vendors, they're all going to get impacted by AI, the projects and programs, and of course the advisory functions that they do in terms of skilling and training, audit to make sure that the outcomes are being achieved, and especially the benefits realization from projects and programs. Now, don't worry about the complexity of this slide, and you can go through it at your leisure. What we want to show is, just as a business has a finance function, just as there's an account management function, just as there's a governance function as we go across, the same applies to projects and programs and technology and data and that sort of thing. And those that were there when I had the pleasure of being there for Confluence 2024 in January would have seen this slide when we went through it in a bit more detail. Now, need to address the business basics, and AI is driving the need for projects and the use of AI. So we need to worry about customer retention. We need to worry about brand protection. We need to worry about lower costs and so on. The impact of AI on projects and programs at the moment is not so much changing the way the project and the program is managed and run and the tools and processes, but in driving the demand for projects and programs to deliver the business transformation around AI. That is the current biggest impact of generative AI and any other form of AI on projects and programs. The impacts on the delivery are coming down the pipeline, but the impact right now is to drive the demand for project management to manage the transformation. So those of you looking for careers who are not really technical, this is an area you may consider going forward. Now, with projects and programs, there's two aspects. There's what we call run the business and what we call change the business. Run the business is to keep things operating because you've got to make money, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to service the customers. When you start to run projects and programs, you take people out of operations to work on the projects that then change the business. That balance of run the business and change the business has to be maintained. And again, one of the other drivers of AI at the moment is the pressure on the business to allocate resources away from run the business to change the business is starting to have an impact upon operations. Now, we research, we design, we develop, we test, we operate, we use, we manage, and we assure. There's a whole series of roles across those different types in both run the business and change the business that's been impacted from AI. And the biggest one is the use of the pilot and autopilot model. With an aircraft, once the aircraft has been built and created for the first time, pilots intervene when things go wrong, assure that things are working, and then manage anything that cannot be automated. The majority of the flying of the aircraft is automated, and this pilot autopilot model is what we're starting to see, whether it's the Hollywood production of films, whether it's the Screenwriters Guild going on strike in your studies for the use of AI. We're increasingly moving down the pilot, autopilot model path. And again, that's another impact of AI right now. Okay, as we drive the demand for more and more transformation, there's going to be a need for transformation offices to oversee and manage the transformation. The projects and programs and portfolios will deliver the transformation, but making sure that the overall transformation comes together, the strategy is aligned, and those aspects will see more and more transformation offices, which are a spin out of the traditional PMO function. So as you just said, AI is driving the need for transformation. It's driving the need for more transformation projects, and that's driving the need for transformation management offices. And there's some of the areas and impacts are on the slide. Now, PMO, or Transformation Management Office, has the overall responsibility for management of the transformation around AI. It will need to change its own operations around the use of generative AI and other types of AI. And there's a quick summary on the slide as to what a typical TMO does. And then the shared services that it uses and that is provided into the PMO for use by the projects, they again are going to change how they are used by the business and how they are managed and used by transformation management offices. So again, this is another aspect of the transformation that is coming and the roles and opportunities, even though you're not directly coding generative AI. Now, like any other PMO, you've got funding issues, you've got capacity and capability issues, and you've got how you manage the transformation. One of the big ones is going to be funding. Why? Because a business has set costs, it has to make a profit. So if you're going to do transformation, where is the money to fund the transformation going to come from? There's a couple of suggestions in there. And again, this is where generative AI and AI in general is driving changes in how PMOs and projects are operated. The classic one is an admin fee in projects, service-based activity. Move along quickly and try and recover some time for everybody. Now, increasing for cloud-based project management services. So rather than you standing up all the hardware, all the software, all the governance, all the processes, all of the frameworks, you use those services on demand out of the cloud. PMO as a service, project management as a service are all starting to occur. It's a big business opportunity with lots of emerging roles. As we've talked about, there's an increasing demand for projects and programs. As you do this, there's an increasing need for systems integration. So you need to make sure your finance, your time sheeting, your billing, your asset management, your inventory, your document management, your workflow, and all those aspects are integrated together. Artificial intelligence is going to come into the process more and more. About that in a minute. Now, the previous speaker but one was talking about cloud infrastructure. One of the biggest issues with cloud infrastructure is the way the funding occurs. For those not in business, there's a thing called operational expenses and capital expenses, OPEX and CAPEX. OPEX is the routine expenditure. CAPEX is where you allocate money, you do your capital works. So if you buy 500 servers and then sell off your business, you have to realize that loss in your capital expenditure. By having services on demand run out of operational expenditures, you save money. And just as cloud-based services out of OPEX are more efficient, the same it is with project management services out of the cloud. Again, this is another change that is coming through because of AI and generative AI. Let's skip this one as we're running through. So project management as a service, it's about OPEX-based cloud services. It's about lower cost. It's about having the best practice sourced in so you don't have to create it. It's about being able to assure the delivery. It's been able to make sure that your PMOs are very lean and don't have a huge admin overhead. It's about the ability to scale on demand. PMO as a service is going to have the networking, the databases, the applications, the admin of all of that, the routine project admin. the routine project tools, the routine project frameworks, the routine project governance, the routine project management resources. That is coming as an on-demand services out of the cloud, and that is going to get automated more and more by AI. So we talked about how you need to link document management, finance, procurement, timesheeting, that sort of thing, and how AI is going to come in terms of aspects like automated contract reviews, helping with resource management, helping with project controls, helping with managing dependencies. And the classic areas are e-discovery, document management, workflow management, automated text libraries, and automated contract reviews. E-discovery, if you're unfamiliar with that term, that's where AI trawls through all of the relevant emails, say relating to a court case. Now, we'll skip over frameworks because we're running out of time, but we're going to need frameworks to monitor and assure the use of the frameworks using AI. AI is going to assure performance of AI in operations, and AI is going to be used in the assurance of AI. There's going to be AI in the skilling and the awareness and the training, and of course there's going to be the sector-specific business aspects. Again, this is an emerging area that is going to be driven by the uptake and use of AI. Let's skip through because we're sort of running out of time. Now, controls in projects. Again, the main controls are in scope and quality, schedule, budget, and resources. And AI is going to lead in and help manage with all of those. And a revised set of controls coming out of a PMO are going to be needed for managing the AI. Similarly with assurance, let's just skip through some of these because we're running out of time. And I have a couple of questions for the AI experts in the room. You can ask me at the end, but I've got ones for you. One of the biggest challenges with projects is getting people away from business operations to spend time on projects. It's by far and away one of the biggest challenges. Now, if there's an expert in the room to talk to me about how AI can help me with that problem, I would love to talk to you. And the other one is one of the biggest factors in the delivery of projects and programs is the managing of the politics that goes with it. And again, how can AI and generative AI help with the management of the politics within projects and programs? If anybody's doing any research on this, anybody's got any ideas on this, love to talk to you at the end. So you can see just from these two examples, even though we've talked about the direct impacts and indirect impacts of AI and generative AI, there's still some challenges to work through. That's Shark Bay in Western Australia from the sky. So let's summarize 3 quick slides. The impact of AI is through the demand for the prerequisites like project management to support transformations. The impact of AI on project delivery at the moment is not that big. That transformational aspect is coming. The main impact is through driving the need and then all of the related activities that we've covered off in this talk. There's a link there for some more information. And again, another link there around implementing artificial intelligence. Conscious of the time, and hopefully we've brought back a bit of time. So let me throw across for questions and comments, please.
Yeah, thank you for the enlightening words, sir. We highly appreciate your time and how you valued our time as well. Now we'll move on to the Q&A session. Anyone have any questions?
Asking a question?
Yeah, so what ethical considerations should organizations take into account when deploying AI in cloud-based project management for business transformation?
Yep. So the question repeated back was about the ethical considerations that are going to be used in projects and cloud-based services. Yep. Yep. Any other area of business is subjected to ethical considerations. So it is going to be with projects, transformation offices, PMOs, and the cloud-based services that are provided and that are going to be consumed. Let me give you a quick example. There's one that the auditors love, which is the segregation of duties. If you are requesting to make a purchase, you cannot then approve that purchase. That is what is called a segregation of duties, and the reason for it is obvious. What will happen is AI will be used to trawl through the databases supporting projects, looking at roles and responsibilities, looking at those who are authorizing purchases and those that are requesting purchases, and reporting back on where there is a conflict on the segregation of roles and responsibilities. That's still to come down the track, but that principle will be applied across all the other areas of business as well as projects and programs. So to answer your question succinctly, the same ethical considerations that goes into any other area of business will go into projects and programs, and businesses will need to assure it, and businesses will get audited on it, especially larger companies and government agencies. Has that answered your question? Beautiful. And there's another hand I saw up in the air. Yes, please.
Yes, Justin.
Sorry, sir. My question is that services, if small companies are maybe dependent on cloud-based project services, so it can cause harm to small companies, or what? Or can companies create our own cloud?
Yeah, great question. So it's the question about how these services get provided and how they get used. If you're a large company like Tata, let's say, you will create your own cloud-based services for use by your business. You will also then sell those cloud-based services to external customers, so they don't have to stand up their own servers, their own hardware, their own PMO and everything else. Now, as soon as you move to cloud-based services, your risk changes and your vendor dependency changes. So government agencies, larger business, sort of larger medium-sized businesses will probably end up running their own cloud-based services, and commercial offerings will be made to other companies to use them. Medium-sized businesses and smaller businesses, the advantage of cloud-based services is cost, cheaper, you get a solution delivered, you don't have to stand it all up yourself. There is a change in risk to your business, and then there is this risk of vendor dependency, which you'll need to manage as you would with any other cloud service. Now, one other aspect is this. If you look at internal IT, they have a monopoly on the services that they provide to a business, and they do all the chargebacks and cost recoveries. Sourcing services out of the cloud, whether it's tax as a service, audit as a service, or project management as a service, creates market competition for in-house IT operations and services. And this is one of the big reasons why it's popular alongside the CapEx and OpEx conversation. Sir, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Beautiful. Do we have time for one more, Mr. Chairman, or are we?
Yes, sir. We can take another question.
Good. Let's take one more, please.
Hello.
if I understood your session, it was about how to use AI or some form of it to influence the management and stakeholders to actually use and leverage AI and related systems. Was it the question?
Almost. That is one of the big challenges in getting the projects up and getting them deployed and integrated. People have to understand the benefits. So that's a very good point that you've made and a great clarification. Thank you very much. My question to the audience is in two parts. We know that getting on with people is all about managing the political relationships. It's about managing vested interests. It's about overcoming incumbency. When you're rolling out projects and programs, it doesn't matter whether you're building a road, you're building a metro line in Bangalore, you're building the new Delhi airport. Managing the political aspects that go on between people is one of the biggest challenges in delivery. And if anybody in the room has ideas how AI can help with that, I would love to talk to you. And the other one is, remember, when you run projects, you've got to take people away from business operations to work on the project, because they've got to do their operational aspects as well as help out with the project. So again, how can we use AI to help people free up time, take them on the journey of the project? How do we get them to do things differently? And how can we use AI to help manage peer pressure and influence to get them behind and supporting the project?
Yeah, so if I understood the question, and I might be wrong in answering that. So
No, please go ahead.
yeah, so my perspective coming from a negotiation background will be that just like an autopilot in aeroplane, regardless of how sophisticated we develop it, we can never force a passenger to ride the plane, because the autopilot can control all the systems of the plane and automate every single process except for onboarding. So yeah, so in onboarding process, since we all are humans, ultimately our target is humans. So to interact with humans and to modify their decisions and the status quo in the mental state, we have to use the old age technique of negotiation only. Yeah, we can develop some AI technologies to assess the target so that we can better target our negotiation. That can be achieved by AI. But the end goal, I believe, is going to be achieved by humans only, because it's a conversational thing.
It is, and it's that you're absolutely right. AI is part of the solution. AI is a tool to help push things along, but it's that human element at the end of the day, which is these two issues. Now, can we take this conversation offline? I'd love to talk to you more about AI in negotiation. My email address is, firstname.surname@gmail.com. If you would be so kind as to put your email address in the chat, I'll pick it up, and if you don't mind, we'll have a follow-up conversation offline.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would love to talk more. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out via email and reach out offline. But I'm sure the next speaker is waiting, and as much as I'd love to talk more, I'd like to pass back to you. And please, thank you everybody for your time. Thank you for listening. Hopefully I've convinced you to become a program manager or a portfolio manager as your next career step.
Thank you, Professor Keith. Thank you, Professor Keith. This is Dr. Deepti, and thank you for such a wonderful session. And I find that the students and audience are very engaged in listening to it and getting a connect and the query that how the things in which the humans are really like negotiations or getting that integrity, nitty-bitty things handled so well is something where we think that yes, AI and AI can assist us. That's the thing. And thank you for sharing your mail, and I hope students will be coming back to you with the inputs and that we can really work along for future things along with you. So any other
Yes.
student, if any other query with you, so that we can take it up right now also, sir is there.
Yep.
You can share your email ID so that, and Aditya is sharing his mail IDs for you.
Yeah, I'll put my email ID in the chat. You remember when I was there in January, we talked about how all of these other aspects are much bigger impacts from AI, and how this is much more beyond Prince 2, PMBOK and PMO methodologies. So again, we'll have some more conversations offline about talking to the students around some of these topics.
Yeah, that would be definitely, we will encourage our students to come back to you. We have your idea, and people will turn back to you. So we will have more of the collaborative work together. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. And hopefully Delhi has moved above 6 degrees.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.